The Sun front page this morning, Wayne Rooney once more, I think third day in a row, high noon for Roon, because not only has he been caught in a nightclub with some women that he doesn't know terribly well, not only has he been found in a hotel room with two of the same women who he doesn't know very well in a state of undress with him falling asleep, but he's now apparently risking his job. Joe, what a great story this is, and quite remarkable. Wayne Rooney, £4.5 million a year from Derby County. They're now suggesting he might be... it might be time for him to walk away.
Well, the thing with this story is he sets a terrible example, doesn't he? He's the manager. And not long ago, two of their players were convicted of drink driving.
Right.
It was Tom Lawrence and Mason Bennett. They both pleaded guilty last year to being under the influence of alcohol whilst driving. And it's sort of like, that wasn't that long ago. And they got rid of those players, and now you're probably, as a player, looking at the bosses at Derby and thinking, why are you still employing this guy?
Right. Yeah, because I mean, it might well be the off season, but they're probably training pretty much every day because it will be kicking off again in August, won't it? The new season.
Well, they just had a match.
Yeah, and they had just had a match, and he was celebrating. I don't know whether they won that match or lost it. Celebrating until 5:15 in a nightclub. I mean, you know, I've got nothing against people going to nightclubs, but Wayne Rooney, married with several children, wife away on holiday in North Wales with the kids. What's he doing? What's he thinking?
Let's not forget, again, the context is, I think it's very key for this story.
Right.
Colleen's going through Wagga Christie at the moment.
Right.
She's in and out of the High Court with Rebecca Vardy, who's Jamie Vardy's wife.
Oh, yes, that's still going on, isn't it?
That's still going on. There's money being lost, money being gained from lawyers, that sort of thing. No one's coming out of that looking good. So she's stressed enough as it is.
Yeah.
And now she's got this again from her husband.
Yes, and I mean, I don't know whether she's spoken about it yet, but it seems as though one of the girls in the story has lost her fiancé. He's now dumped her.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to know what went on. I mean, I accept everybody's word in the story, whether that makes me an idiot or not, I don't know, that nothing actually happened, because he looks as if he was asleep in the pictures, and it does look as if they're kind of fooling around and taking their clothes off. But the fact is, they're in his hotel room. So if you're his wife, you don't really, I mean, it's not even a matter of whether anything happened. It's like, what the hell are you doing? What are you thinking?
It's sort of like the equivalent of texting another woman, isn't it? Or something like that. You know, some sort of
maybe slightly worse than that.
It's worse.
You're actually in a hotel room with two scantily clad young women that you've only just met.
Yeah. There was a quote in The Sun from a source who said that that Colleen felt like it was a bit of a stitch-up. Now, if she sort of believes that, she'll believe anything.
Well, exactly. I mean, and there is this allegation of blackmail, which nobody seems to be taking terribly seriously, that he supposedly reported to the police that these women tried to blackmail him. I don't know if that's true, but there's an awful lot of people who would suggest that it might be him grasping at straws to try and make out that he was somehow set up.
I think that's it. And there was a screenshot of a text or a message that went to his Instagram where one of the girls apparently said, I'll send these pictures to Colleen unless you give me 10 grand.
Right.
I think it was in jest, which is why the police haven't taken it very seriously. Okay. It was a very not even half-hearted. It was a tenth-hearted.
Right.
So that's probably why it's not been taken.
And the other thing that he's done, of course, which shows what sort of state of mind he's in after all this nonsense, is that he cropped one of his own players apparently in a training session yesterday.
That's right,
and has put them out for 2 weeks, right?
I mean,
tackles one of his own players.
The name Rooney just attracts trouble, doesn't it? It's like a magnet to everything going wrong. You know, like I said, even the female Rooney, she's getting in trouble with Wagga Christie.
Yeah, what is going on with that story? How much longer does that go through the courts then?
That feels like that will go on for a long time. I think you've got very two stubborn mules there. And
as you say, an awful lot of money getting paid to an awful lot of lawyers.
No one's coming out looking good.
No, it's never a good idea. And what about the whole idea of Derby County themselves? Because I've seen a couple of tweets that people have sent me this morning to say that he's on £4.5 million a year, apparently, on this, or his contract is worth £4.5 million at Derby County. And they're possibly looking to get shot of him because they'd quite like to save the money.
Yeah, well, funny enough, last year, I think it was last season, they narrowly avoided relegation. having just missed the playoffs the previous year.
Right.
Rooney says that he's going to take them to the Premier League and make history with the club. But he's very inexperienced manager.
Yes.
This is his first job, remember?
Yeah.
And
it's quite a big football club to have your first job at, really, isn't it?
It's a huge football club. I mean, not so long ago they were in the Premier League. I think they were one of the worst performing teams in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But I just think, you go back to Rooney as a player. He's learned from the best. He was under Sir Alex Ferguson, who, I mean, can you imagine Sir Alex Ferguson, even in the 80s when he was still a relatively young manager? Can you imagine Sir Alex Ferguson being caught with his pants down like this?
And also, he's only 35. And when you think about players like Ronaldo, who used to play with Rooney, who's still playing, he was playing in the Euros as the captain for Portugal, and is probably going to be still playing in another 5 years' time because he's that fit.
Yeah.
Rooney has spent so much time in nightclubs and bars that he's just not in any way that kind of athlete, is he?
And again, remember that I think, was it a World Cup or the Euros when Ronaldo was caught winking?
Yes.
Ronaldo was public enemy number one. Rooney was the innocent man.
Was the victim, yeah.
And I just think whenever you saw them at Man U take their tops off, they always take their tops off at the end of the game. Ronaldo was like an Adonis.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was, and he still is now. He's looked after himself. He's pretty much teetotal. I don't think he touches alcohol.
No, I think he's very careful. In fact, you remember when he was at the Euros and he removed that bottle of Coke from the front of his his podium because he didn't want to endorse it, and he said, "I just drink water."
But look at those two careers. Yeah. I mean, all right, Rooney's done okay.
Yeah,
he's
made an awful lot of money.
He's made an awful lot of money. He's I think he's our most capped player, scored the most goals, and he's won a Champions League. But Ronaldo, he's in a whole different stratosphere. He's winning Ballon d'Ors, he's winning Champions Leagues left, right and centre.
And he's still doing it.
And
I mean, let's face it, it wasn't that long ago, probably a couple of years ago, when Rooney had that incident where he met a girl in a bar or something, or a nightclub, and he drove her home or drove her back to her car, even though he'd been drinking.
Yeah.
It's just extraordinary.
It's just a long list of events, isn't it, with Rooney.
So does he survive this, do you think, or will he end up getting the heave-ho?
I think he'll get the sack from Derby.
Yeah.
But Colleen... I mean,
she is the, technically speaking, sort of long-suffering wife, isn't she?
Well, Dan Wootton, formerly of this parish, wrote in his column that Rooney could be caught with his pants down with Rebecca Vardy, and Colleen would still stick by him.
Yeah.
And I think he's absolutely right. And it gets to a point where you start losing sympathy for Colleen.
Yeah, I think so, because I suppose, it's her bed. If she wants to lie in it, it's up to her. She might take a view that she would rather have a father around if she's still got relatively young children, but they're not that young anymore, are they?
No, I think the eldest is sort of
teenagers,
nearly teens.
Yeah.
But I think it's funny because Colleen's quite famous also for holidays.
Yeah.
She's one of these.
I was disappointed to see that she's in North
Wales.
She's
in Wales.
So she's normally in Antigua or somewhere, isn't she?
So it's like sticking by Wayne now isn't really benefit her. She could have sodded off to Dubai or somewhere like that, but she can't now because of COVID.
Right.
I think that's just a hilarious sort of.
Yeah,
what's in it for her now?
Yeah, I mean, it's bad enough seeing your husband on the front page of the Sun, but you're having to read it in North Wales.
Yeah,
it's not really the greatest thing you could do. Listen, great to see you, Joe. Thank you very much indeed. Joe Kasper there. More trouble for Wayne Rooney. Will he survive it? Who can say? But what is wrong with him? Just what's wrong with him?